Okay, first of all, I'm just going to run through some very, very basics about declaring your values before we try to do any maths calculations or any calculation for that matter. So first we've got to declare, this is a basic straightforward instrument with no libraries. So we're going to declare the airspeed. We're going to make it 300. We're going to give it knots per division. Let's give it 10. And we give the speed index of 0. Then we're going to print the value in that. For those that don't know, there's a debugger that we can use, and by simply putting your cursor over things, you left click, and your little button marker comes up, and we can run it. Now, what happens now is we've got two. We can run it right to the end. If we click the run to the end, it'll run right to the end of the code. So it's started here and run there. If, say, for instance, I put another one here, see we've started here, and I push run, it'll run to the next stop, and then to the end. Okay, we don't want to put a stop. We're going to run it again, and just so that we can see what happens when we start, what actually loads. So it's going to add a value to airspeed. It's going to add a value to the text knots per division, and it's going to add a value to the speed index. Then it's going to print the speed index, which is 10, which is the value here that we've got here. Now when we go to the next one, it's now done the mathematics here, and it's added to the to that value, to the speed index value, and it's going to print the speed index value. So that's the basics of how this works. Now let's not put a value to text knots division. Let's run it. Let's step through. You see it jumps, doesn't do anything there. Print text knot value, it gives us a value of 0. So what's going to happen now, as soon as we try to run this value here as 0, and that's where we get arithmetic on a 0 value global text knot division. That's because text knot division has not got a value. Okay, I think that's pretty straightforward. Let's go to the next one. Here we've got the same, very, very similar thing. Let's take this. What I've done here in this example, I've put in a check, which says if text knot division is not equal to 0, then it must do this. It'll print the speed index value. Else, it's going to print that the value is 0. Now this is this here will not, this code like we see here now, will not provide any errors. Let's run it. So we print, we've got a value of 10. It's going to do the calculation. Tells us that the speed index is 30, and the code's finished. Let's remove a value from, so we print. If text not equal to 0, then it should, well, you see now what happens? It equals 0, so now it's coming to here. It equals 0, so now it's coming to here, and it's going to print text not value equals 0. End of running. Now let's do another one. So now we've got our text dot values equal to 0, and we're using the floor divide. Okay, so let's run it. So now it's going to try and do this, and here is where you get attempt to divide by 0. You get an error, and your code would stop. So if there was 0, you would have to put in a code here, something in here to say that if your value is equal to 0, then you have an issue, and because your code won't run anymore, so it's finished, it's done. Okay, so let's do the one with uh, the error for the outside logic.lua. Um, what I've done here is I've done. Let's just run this. Get that up there. Okay, what this code actually does is just this part here just draws that little square there, so that uh, it's for the dial, just so that we know that's where the dial is and where we're working with. Right. So what happens when you load stuff? These load in any order, arbitrary. Doesn't matter where they load, but when the instrument first boots up and runs, it runs through your logic.lua file first. So what we do is we first draw this. So I think better if I do it this way. Let's step through the code. As you can see, we've got no box here. We're going to step through the code. Now it's going to draw. Let's draw now box. Okay. Now it goes to the next, which is vase. Now it starts loading up our vase. Note that you could have many well, you'll see when I come to here, but you can have many functions. It's better to put all your stuff like this in a function. It just makes it much easier because all your vars are called first now. Okay, so let's it's loaded all this. It's now in here. You can have all sorts of things in your vars. I call it bits and pieces. You can call it vars. You can call it what you like, and make the function all the different functions something that you understand. But so you can put all your variables in here. You can put all your dial adds in here. You can put all your canvas adds in here. You can put all your text styles in here. So what happens is this will always run first before any of your other functions and libraries. Okay, so and let's go to the action. Now what you're going to see here is it's going to do this, because this action is going to do this function. Then it's going to come down to canvas, which is this function. It's going to load that canvas up, and it's complete. Notice this did not load or do anything. Now we want to run this. If I turn the dial, boom, now it's going to run the canvas, only after we turn the dial. And notice that this callback direction is not inside the logic.lua, it's outside of the logic.lua. So let's draw the canvas. Try to initiate canvas outside of initial logic.lua execution. And that's where the issue is. So it's going to, every time so it tells us that the canvas draws also not value, and it'll do its thing. Now let's do this. Let's take my canvas, let's cut it, and let's put it somewhere where it's run within, step through, loads the vase at the dial, action, loads the speed, loads the canvas, end. Goes back down to canvas, does this one. Fine. Turn the dial. This one's now is loaded. Draws down blue box. So you don't get any errors. So that explains to you how it's important that your functions and everything like that are called within your logic.lua. Otherwise, you'll get errors and all sorts of things like that. Hope that helps. Cheers.